Welcome to Wild Cottage in the west of Ireland in the hills of County Clare. It's been a wee while, and inspired by Sarah of It's a Sarah podcast, knitting vlog. She's doing a daily little vlog in February, and because I'm so behind on updating you, I hope this wind is okay. It's always a breeze in the west of Ireland. Because I'm so behind and updating you so many things, I thought maybe I would try, health permitting, daily or semi, every other day or whatever, little updates where I can show you, because I've done so many knits. So I live here with my partner Tom. We live in County Clare, as I said, which is in the west of Ireland. We're about 20 miles from the coast as the crow flies. We live here with our 2 adopted dogs. Mimi, come away from there. And Shep, who is a retired sheepdog. He's a border collie. Come here, girl. Yes, that's you. I'm talking about you. And he is, let's see, can you see him there? He is always my shadow. So he's a good co-host. But I'm sitting on a chair today because the grass is wet because we had rain last night. So you won't really be able to see him until I talk about him, and he wants to say hi. So, okay, good boy. So yeah, so just a tiny wee bit to start off. I am a knitter, I spin, I am attempting to do a bit of crochet, I do some needle felting and felting. I do a lot of different crafts, but today it's going to all be about knitting. So I want to just show you a few wee things, one of which is this beautiful jumper sweater that I finished, I suppose, yeah, I finished in January. And this was a test knit, and it is for Athena of the Seedling Stitch podcast here on YouTube. And this pattern has been released. It's now released, and for the month of February, it's 15% off. And I really, really like this pattern. So it's a top-down circular yoke colorwork, as you can see. And Athena has designed it based on landmarks of her home city, which is Harbin, Harbin. Why am I spelling it? Because I'll just put it on the screen. In China, where she's from, but she lives in Vancouver now. And so she has her podcast in English, and she also has a Chinese channel. So this is her first colorwork jumper design, and I have to say I was so impressed. Like, it went so smoothly, the test knit, and yeah, really well written pattern. I did size 4, and it goes up to size 5X. It goes up to size 5XL. Follows the Craft Council of the US, I guess, sizings. It goes up to 5XL, and so I did the size 4. This is only the second colorwork jumper that I've ever done. I've only done a few colorwork projects, but it went really smoothly, and I really liked the way that she did the design for the to keep the back neck higher, so you don't actually do short rows in the colorwork, which is great, because the other pattern that I had done as a colorwork jumper, you had to do some short rows in the colorwork in the back, which meant purling the short rows, which just, you know, wasn't the easiest. But the way this is constructed, you don't have to do that. You do have the added length in the back with her method, but it's just not done through purling short rows, which is great in colorwork to not have to purl, at least for me as someone who's fairly new to colorwork. So I really appreciated that. I did a few things differently. I knitted the collar a little bit higher. I just wasn't paying attention. So the collar is just probably like a centimeter or 2 higher than it is in the pattern. But it's a folded over collar. The way she has you do it in the pattern, you don't have to do a provisional cast on, which I'm absolutely brutal at. So I was glad. And we just folded over the collar, and then, you know, did the stitches that way, which I find perfect for me, and I think it looks really great, so that was nice. And then we did the color work. So the color work is, you can see the patterns are all different, and I'll say briefly what they symbolize. So there is an early bumblebee. We're in the sunroom, I just saw it. There it is. Or is it a wasp? Let's see. It's a bee. Yeah, but you need to go outside. This is the little sunroom that we built with old windows. Tom, I didn't build it. Tom built it last year. And I'm in here because I tried to film from outside, and because it's the west of Ireland, we're like generally never without a breeze. And I don't have like a microphone that can cope with that. So this is just a little knit and chat, I suppose. I was trying to set up so you could see the birds at the feeder. We have lots of feeders around, that's one of them. But I think it's probably a bit too far away. But I don't want to put it too close. I don't want them to bang into the window. So you're very welcome here. So yes, so Wild Cottage, Ireland, in the hills of County Clare, we have generally a very mild climate. Today is the 15th of February, and the 1st of February is a Moke or Bridget's Day, and it is traditionally the first day of spring in Ireland, and you can see why. I mean, most of the trees don't really have leaves, but we have, like, often there'll be the first primroses, the first daffodils will come along. There's the dawn chorus of the birds has really started. Some of the earlier birds may be nesting, like I believe it's the mistle thrush is one of the very first birds that starts singing its sort of summer, song, its mating song in February. So yeah, and when the sun is out, it's absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, the sun hasn't been out a whole lot this February, although the temperatures have generally been mild. Here's your weather update, if you're interested in where we live. Temperatures generally have been mild, so highs during the day of maybe about 10 degrees, which is about 50 Fahrenheit, and then the lows in the sort of the single digits, but not too close to freezing. So for people that use Fahrenheit, that's generally in the 40s or the high 30s this February, but that could change, and we could actually have a frost at any point until May. And one of the reasons is we're actually quite far north, but we're mild because of the Gulf Stream, but also because it's very humid and damp here. Humidity is usually really high, so anytime it gets at freezing, there will be frost on everything. Things will get frosty. There's just a little tidbit, and I'm just chatting and I'm not knitting. And that was just because I wanted to first just show you what I'm wearing. This is a beautiful test knit that I completed, and this pattern is now on sale. It's the Harbin Sweater by Athena of the Seedling Stitch, and the color work itself is representative of places and things in her home city of Harbin in the northeast of China. And one thing that is really known for is it's very cold and snowy, and they have a huge ice festival each year with, like, it's enormous, ice sculptures and all kinds of things. I would love to go. I love snow and ice. And so I held some sparkly, oh, here comes the early bee. Can you see the winter iris here? I have some outside as well, but This is the second one that's come in here, and if it can't find its way back out, I help it. Anyway, so we have a little friend. What was I saying? So yes, I knit in some sparkly thread. I held it double with the white down here for the icicles, and then up here I can't really see because the light is terrible. I apologize, but I definitely recommend this pattern. The color work isn't like all the same sort of repeat, so if you have never ever done color work before, just be aware of that. It's a little more complex. But having said that, one of the testers had never done color work before, and she completed it no problem. Anyway, so we have patterns on here representing the pine boughs with ice on them. There is the bridge and her city. The cathedral, they have, I think it's St. Sophia's Cathedral there, which is it's ancient, it's a big landmark. And of course we have icicles and the little houses. And so I put, a frozen sparkles on the pine bough branches and on St. Sophia's Cathedral. And then down here, I made some other little wee modifications. Now for the test, we only had to do one sleeve and a few inches of the body. So there is a bit of like color work on the bottom of the body, and you do more ribbing than I do. I never do much ribbing on the bottom. And since that was okay in this test knit, I didn't do it. I didn't do that. And also for the sleeves, you would continue this color work in that you would continue the white. So the cuff would be white. But because I'm out, this is an outdoor jumper for me. I'm outside all the time with, maybe gardening or with the dogs. White would just get filthy so quickly. So I just continued on in the dark. And I've made this all out of Irish wool, except for obviously the sparkly thread that I held. And also this blue here, which you mightn't be able to see, this is sort of a medium blue. It actually has sparkle in it, and that's something I thrifted, so I have no idea. It's probably an acrylic and wool mix or something. I don't know. But let me come in closer to you and try to, let's see. Okay, so the white is just the natural color of the Galway breed wool, which is Ireland's traditional breed. It's still a rare breed. There are only about 2,500 of these sheep left. But the Galway Wool Breeders Co-op has gotten together and they're making yarn out of it. It's a long wool breed. It's a really strong rustic wool. Now, you can see, and I'm actually warm right now. I'm going to take this off as soon as I'm done. I can wear this right next to my neck, and like I can feel it, but I'm not bothered by it. I also make sure I wash my rustic wools now in the Eucalan or something similar that would have the lanolin in the wash, because it replaces a bit of the lanolin that would be in the wool, and if it's a no rinse, then it stays in there and it softens it that bit. So that's just something you could try as well. Or I used to just use hair conditioner, but obviously that doesn't usually have lanolin, and you wash hair conditioner out, or at least I did. So anyway, so I decided to try Eucalan when I saw that it had lanolin in it, and I'm quite happy with it. I just get the unscented. It's sometimes easier to find and a little bit cheaper because everybody wants to scent it, and I just put my own essential oils in it because I love essential oils. Anyway, so that's just what I do, and I can make all sorts of scents from it. So that's the white. So again, I just want to say these are all rustic wools, so you know yourself maybe more of what you are able for, but I am able to wear this Galway right next to my neck. So if you know that you're fine with rustic wool, you might be able to do this too. So anyway, and then the other ones are all, except for that sparkly blue, they're from Donegal Wool Spinning Mill up in Donegal, and they're all under the brand Studio Donegal. The light blue is their soft Donegal, and that is a mix of Irish wool with some merino. So whenever you see merino, that's never a sheep that lived in Ireland, because they do not do well here. They just don't live and thrive. But so this is partially an Irish wool, but it is no, I've told you a lie. I've told you a big lie. The soft Donegal is all merino. and it is really, really soft, but it is super wash. It is not super wash. None of these are super wash. So the soft Donegal is 100% merino. So that's never an Irish sheep because they don't thrive here, but it is spun in Ireland, and it is very, very soft. So if you can't take a rustic wool, but you would like a wool that doesn't have nylon and is not super washed, try the soft Donegal because it's merino. It is very soft. And then the dark kind of gray, I think it's called charcoal, the main color. It's sort of it's a gray with a blue tint. That's from Studio Donegal. And I believe, I could be wrong now, I could be having a brain fart, but I believe that this is Irish wool, maybe with a bit of merino. And again, it's spun up in County Donegal. So it's got some Irish wool in it. And it might be 60 Irish wool and 40 merino, but I could just be making that up. Okay, so I think I've said all the things about this. I did size 4. Athena has written it according to the Craft Council guidelines, so it goes up to a 5XL. Now I know this could be no longer true, but she wasn't able to find testers, I think, for the 4 and 5XL. So if you would like to knit this and are that size, maybe contact her, because she might, be interested in having you test. So yeah, so I am super happy with this. I went up a little bit on the needle because I'm a tight knitter and I was a bit worried about that. I went up a bit extra through here because I was measuring and I was thinking, oh, I've gotten really tight. Now I think actually I hadn't. So this bit is a little bit bigger than, so I think I added in about 2 extra inches. So mine is, I think I was aiming, the size 4 was like about a 42-inch bust, and I think I've ended up in part of it with a 44. But that's okay because this is an outdoor type jumper, and you'd be wearing layers under, and it's just more ease. That's all. But oh, let me stand up. Oh my goodness, my knees are not happy because I was on the floor. Oh, I just have arthritis throughout my body, so yeah. Okay, so as you can see, I didn't go down the needle size on my ribbing because I don't like when it cinches in, but you could definitely, do that as the pattern calls for. And I just do about an inch of ribbing, and I find, especially, I didn't even block this properly because it's just never going to dry in our west of Ireland damp climate when it just was raining a lot. So I just hung it over the fire crane and it just dried like that. So yeah, so I didn't even pin that down and it didn't flip. But if you do a smaller ribbing and you find it flips, when you block it and pin it down, that will probably take care of it. That's what I have found anyway. So I think that, so I'm very interested in finding jumper sweater patterns that I really like to knit and that also I find fit me pretty well, basically, and then trying to do sort of like plug and play, and add in some motifs of my own. And I'm thinking that this jumper might be what I want to do with that, because it's just the basic pattern of it, and then going with stitch counts and see what motifs I can add in myself. So yeah, I'm thinking about that, because other colorwork jumper I did was bottom up. I didn't enjoy that as much. I like being able to try on as I go. I'm supposed to be knitting and chatting, but I'm just chatting. There's our bee friend. Let me help that bee. I'm just going to help that bee out. Okay, I helped that bee out. It was over there. And I'll just show you, I mean, you probably know this, but in case there's somebody that doesn't, the way we help out like bees or hoverflies or spiders or anything, moths. We don't have a moth in the house. We freak out when they're the little ones that could be the clothes moths. But so usually, they're going to the window because they're trying to get out. So we just get like, well, this is plant pot was in here, but we have a dedicated like little clear glass and a piece of thin paper. This is a little bit thicker, but not too thin that it doesn't have body, if you know what I mean. And we just, so like, there's a little spot there, which you probably can't see, but if that's the insect, just you kind of gently do that. And then again, gently bring your paper up, and then your insect is, you know, in there, and you're not going to get stung, and you can just take it out and whee! This public service announcement. Hope you can hear me over the breeze. But these are some winter irises. I tend to put them in little pots because they're only tiny, and that way I can lift the pots up. The state of the pot's full of things that weren't really supposed to be in there, but you can see over the years I've collected different colors. And today is the 3rd or 4th of February, and it's Bridget's bank holiday weekend. Yay! Bridget's Day was the 1st. And these are some lovely winter irises. So this is the pattern, the super secret test knit that I could not tell you about. I actually finished it in December. Was a pair of colourwork mittens designed by Albina McLaughlin for the Stolen Stitches. I think it was the Winter Seasons Club for Carol Feller's Seasons Club, which is a great club. And Carol Feller is also a brilliant designer. But it was inspired, the flower on the front, they're called winter iris mittens, and this is a winter iris, and I knit them for Tom as a gift. And excuse me, I chose colors that would reflect the actual winter irises, and I'll tell you about that pattern and the yarn and the modification I made for Tom's arthritic hands. And I love the pattern, so I'll tell you about that later, but here are the flowers. So friends, in the next upcoming little video, which is about 20 minutes probably as well, so it's not that little, I'll be showing you those mitts. I've already recorded that, so hopefully that will go up tomorrow, which will be the 17th of February, and I am just editing this video on the 16th, and hopefully it will go up on the 16th as well. I really appreciate your watching and all your lovely comments, which I've been having problems with. I talk about it more in the next video. But yes, sorry for the sort of weird abrupt end, but I suppose it's better than nothing. Hope you're well, and talk to you soon.